Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha. Games critics have a tough road in this industry, especially those in the traditional media. Written reviews on web publications and print media are numerous, the ability to earn a living virtually impossible, and the ability to stand out and gain visibility even harder. As such, those critics must maintain a portfolio to be able to present to prospective employers to showcase their capabilities, and this only happens by being able to show published works. But what happens when the publications you work for not only makes significant changes to both your review and its score, and then eliminates all of your work by deleting it from the site, firing you and a host of other writers, all following on the coattails of being admitted as a confirmed Metacritic site? Well, unfortunately, that is the reality here, and specifically we are talking about the site called The Overpowered Noobs, or OPNOOBS.com, and the review written for that site for the game Criminal Girls Invite Only. Now, I will keep the video footage clean. However, the Criminal Girls game itself is a game with a highly sexual theme, including BDSM elements. It is essentially an RPG of sorts with randomized combat elements. Tony Villarreal, and my apologies if I pronounce your name wrong, was asked to write a review of the game that was at minimum 1,000 words. Tony agreed, and the email threads that I was made privy to seemed to be completely innocent, at least at first. Tony played the game and wrote his review, which was extensive, well-written, informed, and from what I have seen by comparing to several other reviews, to be highly accurate and insightful. Tony was also gracious enough to repost his original review unaltered to the site The Geek Getaway recently, that I will post a link to down in the description for anyone interested in reading what Tony actually had to say about the game. And everything started out innocent enough, with Fred Breezy, the president of OPNOOBS, stating the following in response to Tony's informing him of the negativity of the review. "A negative review is more than fine, Tony, as long as it isn't insulting or plain mean. I'll look into it and let you know. In any case, thanks for being on top of it in terms of your deadline." Tony responded back, stating that he had some bad experiences in the past where he was expected to write positive reviews if given review code, and I for one would love to know what sites those were so I can make sure to avoid them like the plague in the future. However, Fred Breezy reassured Tony by saying, "You know that's not how we roll, man. PC gaming by PC gamers is the motto, son." However, a scant 2 days later, Fred Breezy emailed Tony again, stating, "Dear Tony, I'm afraid your review has been rewritten. Whether your name is on it is your decision. I leave that up to you. Consequently, I'm also hard-pressed to tell you that we won't be able to continue with you in the writing department. Since we lost several of our editors in the second half of last year, our capacity has shrunk dramatically. I'm sorry for being the bearer of bad news, but I have to support my editors. I hope you'll understand. Wish you the best, Fred." And Tony, to his credit, maintained his journalistic ethics and, in the face of Breezy's blatant intellectual dishonesty, and opted to have his name removed from the review that was no longer entirely his and which was far more favorable towards the game than the original. Approximately 12 hours later that same day, Fred Breezy sent out the email notification that OPNOOBS was officially welcomed as a Metacritic site. The timeline continued a little over 2 weeks later when Tony changed his mind about posting his original review to another site and announced that decision to Fred Breezy, who responded that he understood. A couple of weeks after that, Tony discovered that all of his reviews had been removed from the site, completely invalidating all of the work that Tony had performed for the site and making it impossible for Tony to be able to use those reviews to be able to seek employment elsewhere. Also, Fred Breezy stated that some 200 plus reviews in total were wiped from the site. After that, Fred Breezy gave Tony the cold shoulder, basically ending the conversation. Now, seeing all of this unfold over the course of a full month feels to me to be very much akin to a slow-motion train wreck, and it paints a very clear picture as to what this site espouses. Riding on the backs of becoming a Metacritic-approved site, OPNOOBS seems to have gone through and wiped out a wide swath of reviews in order to become more desirable to video game publishers, while at the same time completely screwing over those writers affected by this purge, ensuring that they would not only no longer be employed by the site, but that all of the work that they did accounted for literally nothing, and it wouldn't even help towards their future employment elsewhere. And on top of that, there is the issue of the review manipulation. This violates so many moral and ethical tenets that I can scarcely believe that I could see the discussion surrounding such a farcical and cynical violation of consumer trust. It is absolutely repugnant to see, and at least in my eyes, this site no longer has any shred of credibility, and if this is the sort of integrity that Metacritic or any site espouses, then it only serves to reinforce my belief that the traditional games media is a dinosaur best left to fossilize in the earth, while those who actually care about consumer advocacy are allowed to fill the void. The consumer will be better for it, and the industry in general will be far better off. As such, I would advise that the word be spread that people avoid the site OPNOOBS. They have shown themselves to have no regard whatsoever for their writers, and that any content they produce can no longer be trusted. This is a betrayal to consumers everywhere, and as such, please spread the word of this. Don't let Tony and the other writers affected by this suffer in vain. They deserve far better, and so do all of you. And as always, please do let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and I'll see you next time.